Right, I have tried to film this so many times that if it doesn't work out this time, it's not going up. I'm feeling a little bit nervous because I'm going to reveal a few things that people may not have known, or say some things which I hope doesn't but might offend or upset some people. This video is about my ME/chronic fatigue story, my ME experience, journey, story. Started in January 2012 after I had been ill for a few months, about 6 months, particularly ill in the past 3 months from the October onwards with the typical symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome. My daily routine basically consisted of waking up at 1 PM in the afternoon, having a shower if I was lucky to have the energy to have a shower, going downstairs, eating some lunch if I could muster it and keep it down, and then I would try and do some schoolwork which had been sent home for me. Probably wouldn't get much schoolwork done because I would fall asleep after sort of half an hour on the sofa. For another 3 hours my mum would wake me up, tell me that my tea was ready, I would eat my tea, watch TV for a couple of hours, go back to bed, and the routine will continue. The December of 2012 I saw my head GP at my surgery, and he sent me to a child paediatrician just to see whether she agreed with the possibility of a diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. I was in the room about 10 minutes with her when she said, "Yep, you are classic chronic fatigue, ME. We have to make all these changes to your life. We have to examine you, we have to take your weight, we have to do your height, we need to get a district nurse out to you to see you." And I was honestly stunned. I didn't think anything was going to come for that appointment. My mum and dad didn't. I remember sitting in the car on the way there with my mum, and she asked me if I was worried about the appointment, and I said, "No, not really. Are you?" And she went, "No, I think it's something related to your periods." I think we were both like in complete shock when the doctor said, "Yeah, you're classic chronic fatigue." And I was in so much of a shock and so upset about all these changes that she said I had to make to my life that I went out into the car park after the appointment with my mum, and we walked back to the car, and I just burst into tears and said to her, "I just want to be a normal teenager. Why does all this bad stuff have to happen to me?" I felt like I was being battered by the world because previously to that I had had just a few other things in my life that had went on which weren't all like rainbows and butterflies, let's just say. The next few years I was really ill. Every single day I would have extreme exhaustion to the point where I would sleep for hours and hours, but I would feel tireder than when I went to sleep. Extreme nausea, where I was willing myself to be sick because I was just sick of the feeling of being nauseous. Headaches all around my forehead and the back of my head. Anything sensory like hearing, smells, sight, I was super sensitive to. My eyes would burn with the sunlight. Any noise would give me a headache. Any smell would make me feel really nauseous. Memory, all my memory went downhill regarding education, like exams, anything to do with that. Couldn't remember anything. And just general memory, like I would put my phone down somewhere, 1 minute later I would go back to find my phone and I couldn't find it, and I would spend the next 20 minutes trying to find this phone that I had only left for 1 minute before forgetting where I had put it. Brain fog, couldn't get a single word out properly. I felt like I was stuttering over every single word. I couldn't get the sentence in my head physically out of my mouth. My brain could not connect to my speech, and that's just like a tiny list of symptoms amongst loads. Like if you pass me an A4 page I still don't think it would be enough room to write down the amount of symptoms that I've experienced over the past 4 years, 5 years. Not only did the ME have an effect on my physical health, but it also had an effect on my mental health. It caused my anxieties to heighten massively. I would be paranoid about what people were saying behind my back. In some cases, I was right to be paranoid, because I was right that people were saying things behind my back, but like even things that my friends would say or things that my family would say, I would be constantly overthinking it and turning a positive comment into a negative comment. And eventually it led to me having depression, and from that depression and all the physical symptoms combined and the anxiety, I didn't want to live anymore. I was sick of living. I was sick of my body fighting against me and hating me for doing the slightest thing. And only a handful of people, I would say, knew that I was having suicidal thoughts. It was quite difficult for me because I was constantly fighting between wanting to die and wanting to stay alive, for not for me, but for the people in my life, my friends, my parents, my boyfriend. I was more worried about the effect it might have on them than what I was about physically wanting to die. I'm not sure if I would be alive, to be honest, if I wasn't an only child and if I didn't have the support of the friends that I have. In fact, I don't think I would be, which is quite scary to think, and I am unbelievably thankful and grateful for their support. I didn't think I was gonna get upset. Ironically, it's Mental Health Awareness Week as well. Sacrifices. I have made an unbelievable amount of sacrifices due to this illness. I wasn't able to fulfill a normal, full education, which was for me one of the hardest things about the illness. I've always been quite studious. I've been hardworking. I like to learn. So for me not to be able to have that usual education experience, not to be able to be in the classroom with my friends and learning, it was very difficult for me to accept that I wasn't going to have that anymore. My social life, I didn't really have much of a social life. I had to limit the amount of time I spent with my friends. I couldn't do the sleepovers like everyone else could, and when I did do it, I would pay for it for weeks after, and my body would hate me for actually doing something that I enjoyed. I would say one of the most difficult things for me to deal with and to react to regarding the illness is other people's reactions. Some people who are considered as close and people who I could trust would make comments behind my back saying that they think I was over exaggerating, or they think it was a fake illness, they think I'm just lazy, they think I just can't be bothered to go to school. School friends as such, people who I would sit next to in lesson or people who I talk to in the hallway, from what I can gather there was quite a few comments, and I understand, like, if I decide to share this on a personal social media platform and they watch this and they think, oh yeah, maybe I did make a comment about her, I'm not holding grudges. Like, I understand some people who don't have the knowledge about an illness do make throwaway comments which they maybe don't realise affect the person as much as they do. Even myself, before I got this illness, I would make throwaway comments about other illnesses, which now I feel really bad for. But I just think, you know, all of us need to think, whether it's about illnesses or whether it's about whatever, it doesn't matter. I think all of us just need to think a bit more before we open our mouths regarding things that might be hurtful towards others. Having the illness has highlighted to me who is really there for me. I didn't make this video just to ramble on and on and on. Today is International M.E.Awareness Day, and I made it to make awareness of the condition and so that anyone else who may be struggling with ME can type in ME CFS into the YouTube search box and hopefully get my video and know that they're not alone. If anyone does do that, please feel free to leave me a comment or get in contact with me, because I know that sometimes it just really helps to know that someone is there and someone has experienced the same things as what you're going through, or very similar things. Not everyone with ME suffers the same symptoms, not everyone suffers to the same severity. I've told you a very short story of a very, very long story. I am actually a lot better now. At one point I thought I would never recover, and I'm not saying that I have recovered, because I have bad days, trust me, I have bad days. But I have a social life now. I'm learning how to drive. I'm doing an online childcare course. I can see a life ahead of me where at one point I couldn't see anything past my bed. If I told me 2 years ago that I would be where I am today and as well as I am today, I don't think I would have believed myself that I would get to this point. Maybe I'll do more videos one day on ME. I'll probably do one on mental health. That's about it. That's all I'm gonna say. I think I've rambled on for long enough. Thank you for watching. Bye.